the gray wolf. The male can weigh 100 pounds, most of it muscle. Because a man will stand upright, just like a bear, the wolf will avoid him. Unless the wolf has seen too many people. He will then lose all inhibition. In England, the county of Suffolk had more people in it than most any other rural area during the 12th century. This is where the village of Woolpit got its name from the wolf pits that protected the workers of the farmland. A wolf pit was dug 6 feet or more into the soft soil. The bait was the leg of a cow thrown into the pit. The pit was then covered with branches. A couple miles to the north was a settlement of immigrants from Flanders, in the neighboring village of Fornham Saint Martin. They spoke the Flemish language. They wore funny-looking clothes, and they all worked as fullers. This was the worst job of the Middle Ages, involving the treatment of raw woolen cloth with large amounts of human urine. The country of Flanders is the next-door neighbor of France. When the floods came, the Flemish migrated to England, and they brought with them the loup-garou. The nature of the loup-garou can be repressed only by silver, and the Flemish were known to use the color for this purpose. Like all amalgams of silver, contact with the skin will turn it green, and may God help those who remove this barrier between humanity and lycanthropy. Arriving at the field in the morning, the farmers first would check the wolf pit, so they could kill whatever was in it. On this particular day, excited to see a big hole in the branches that covered the pit, they were equally dumbfounded to find beneath it the 2 green children. Punishments in medieval times were very harsh for any serf that attempted to steal from the landowner. No farmer touched the children's collars. They were brought to the landowner, on whose property they were found. The lucky man was Richard Decane, whose manor was only 6 miles away by foot. We cannot know if Decane was a greedy man, but when he was asked to name the language of the children, he refused. A man as widely traveled as he would surely have recognized the Flemish tongue. He could have made inquiries in nearby Fornham Saint Martin as to who might have lost their children. But he did not. He immediately confiscated their silver collars in exchange for his hospitality. Thus was he the unwitting cause of the children's reversion to their true natures. Because they were peasants, they were never offered meat, which was the only meal they now wanted. Like a canine that is offered only bowls of salad, they refused all sustenance. Today we know the level of proteins and amino acids in just plain beans very closely approximates those found in fresh meat, with noses that were many times more sensitive than that of a normal human. They smelled in these beans the essence of life, and so saved their own lives by eating the food of the master. It was only when they regained their strength that the young male became a threat. Little Adrian was old enough to associate the Decanes with his hunting pack. But when a member of the clergy visited the manor, the boy could sense his weakness. To supplement his diet with a fresh kill, the boy found himself inside the guest chamber where the priest slept. Unfortunately, his youth and inexperience resulted in a failure to protect himself. When the frightened clergyman struck out defensively, with the only weapon at hand, the heavy silver crucifix, which normally hung around his neck, but which he remembered was sitting on the bedside table, and which he plunged into some part of the boy's anatomy we do not know. But we do know it did cause Adrian's sudden demise. The child died under Decane's care. Now it was in Richard's best interest, and the best interest of the church, that the remaining child be hidden from any Flemish probe. He made the girl Agnes his family servant, still unaware that the young girl shared in full the affliction of her brother. The female of the loup-garou is typically more cautious than the male. She was able to keep hidden her curse. But as she grew into adulthood, she could not repress her innate animal magnetism. It is well documented that she was universally desired by any man in the village who laid eyes on her. It is not her fault that this wolf was a fox. She bided her time until she caught the eye of the vicar, of the vicar of the local parish. A vicar was allowed to take a wife, but Agnes suspected she may not have to resort to such extreme measures in order to extract her revenge for the death of her brother. She was right. In fact, it was in the same chamber that she visited the overnight guest. The vicar's amorous advances were not allowed fruition. Agnes was experienced at the ritual of the kill. Her conquest was never discovered or even suspected by the Decanes. She had only to leave the main entrance door wide open, and it was assumed, correctly, that the cleric was the victim of a member of the wolf genus. 2 days later, the traveling wagon of Mr. Barr visited the manor as part of its commercial circuits, in the hopes of selling some finely dyed woolen cloth. Agnes long had her eye on Mr. Barr as a suitable mate. She left with him that day, traveling to his home, and he took her as a wife. It is written that she lived until old age in the village of King's Lynn, some 40 long miles from Woolpit. To this very day, Some of the locals are said to be descended from the Green Children. But if you ask them who, they will not say.
I've seen some of the experiments shown in this film actually carried out